Tales from the Darkside Season 1, Episode 15, Answer Me. An episode that on its face should not work. It's very simple, features one character talking to themselves the entire time. It features two locations, one an empty apartment, the second one a sort of furnished apartment, both very small. One character, a older British actress lady, who talks to herself the entire time, and a phone that rings off the hook the entire episode. You will hear this thing ring 100 times. So you think, oh, this sounds bad. This is going to be terrible. And it would be, except for we have him. And yes, I'm kissing his ass again. Michael McDowell, he wrote the script to this.
Here I come to save the day.
He wrote Nightmare Before Christmas. He was a co-writer on that. He wrote Thinner. He wrote tons of Tales from the Darkside episodes and some monster episodes. He was friends with Stephen King. He was friends with Tim Burton. His writing is so good that he just knows how to take a very simple premise and kind of an annoying premise, because it's basically a killer telephone phone ringing off the hook and goes and investigate. That's pretty much it. But his pacing, his writing, and even the way they kind of shoot this brings it up to an actually above average episode. I'm someone who gets kind of easily annoyed, especially when there's just constantly noises blaring at you in television shows, but I get through it. Malcolm McDowell's here to save us again. So our main character, well, our only character, his name is Joanne, and she's living in New York City, and we see this beautiful New York City skyline that they use in virtually every 80s show. I don't know what this is, but they keep reusing it. In a small apartment, she's a struggling actress and constantly talks about how she actually wish she didn't live in New York City anymore. She's not making any money, she's away from her friends, and now she has this phone in this apartment right next to her that is ringing all the time. And you hear this, like I said, 100 times in this episode, but also you hear some loud banging too. And that was a nice thing that they added. It's not just a phone ringing, you hear some banging. Then when she eventually goes into the apartment to check it out, you see some claw marks on the door. So they add some other effects to show this is probably some type of evil spirit that is trying to get Joanne's attention. And it's not crazy enough that she would call the cops about it. Everyone's heard bumps in the night, though this one kind of shakes her walls. First 10 minutes, we get pretty much that. They could have shortened this part up, but it's Tales from the Darkside. They do this a lot. They have the first 10 minutes kind of a setup, and then the second 10 minutes, the quote-unquote action part. So she eventually goes to the apartment right next to her. She actually has a key to it. And the person who used to live in that apartment committed suicide, and the apartment is completely empty. She is an older actress that's still kind of failing, but I wonder why they wouldn't just go with a younger actress who just moved into the city. Also having her with a British accent, maybe they're trying to just make it seem different. She monologues the entire time. It's only her, so she has to kind of talk to herself, and she projects as if she is actually doing a stage play, where she goes, "Oh, please, please, oh, this phone, please stop. Oh, the heavens." It's not terrible, but like I said, a little bit of an odd casting choice. But they wanted to do something different. Everyone else would have chosen a younger actress who just moved to the city and was kind of naive. They got a girl in her late 50s who is an unsuccessful actress and monologues the entire time like she's doing a rendition of Hamlet. Okay, doesn't ruin it, but interesting choice. Tales from the Darkside. The series does love old actresses, though. Old actors and actresses. It's kind of their thing. So she goes into this apartment and doesn't really find much, and then goes in a second time when the ringing doesn't stop and finds the telephone. And we get actually kind of a cool scene where she tries to disconnect the phone by calling the operator, and the operator kind of leads her down this road where it sounds like maybe she might be talking to a ghost. She also lets her know that the person committed suicide who used to live in that apartment and was found with the phone cord wrapped around their neck. That's how they committed suicide. They strangled themselves, or something strangled them with a phone cord. It's pretty clear after she makes this phone call with the operator that this telephone is messing with her. It's kind of evil. And after she knows the last person strangled himself with the phone cord, you go, okay, we're getting a killer telephone. A couple episodes earlier, we had a killer answering machine. Then we had killer tarot cards. We're getting a killer telephone. But Malcolm McDowell's pretty smart with the writing. He does bring some kind of red herrings, sort of. Like there's pounding on the walls. There's the claw marks that are all around this empty apartment that she comes into. So it does lead you to think maybe you're going to see like an actual monster jump out of one of these closets. She'll open some of the closet doors of the apartment kind of slowly, making you think that maybe something might jump out at you. So it is pretty tense when she's walking around this kind of empty apartment. It's filmed quite well. It's dark, but it does a pretty good job ratcheting up the tension. But, we get exactly what you think we're going to get. It's a killer telephone. And it kills her. Now, this scene is played very seriously, and it is very quick, so I don't think it's like super goofy. It's at night, and it just kind of attacks her, but it's fine. Some of the reviews I read definitely don't like it, though. They think, a killer telephone's a little too crazy, but it's really supposed to be like an evil spirit. So I think I'm feeling a 7 for Answer Me. It's a high 6, low 7. I've already went over the reasons why it's definitely not like a perfect episode, but, it is enjoyable. I think there's a lot of other ones to watch before this one, but, it actually brings it back to more of a horror atmosphere. It is pretty tense when she's creeping around this apartment. Jean Marsh played the character Joanne, the only character. She's been acting in movies since the 60s. She was in Twilight Zone, Willow, Return to Oz, The House of Elliot, and she still acts to this day, acting in the TV series Willow in 2022, and also Doctor Who, The Early Adventures, from 2014, 2016. So go, Gene. And the telephone was played by a basic rotary phone from Radio Shack, giving the best performance in this episode. Next up from Season 1, Episode 16 of Tales from the Darkside, The Tear Collector, about a man who collects tears. It has some good sets, though. Thanks for watching, and check out our playlists.